one, shot.
Do you see this mark? Is the ball in or out?
I'm pretty convinced this is out. But then again, on clay, it's hard to say. That's why we now have electronic line calling. I was surprised to hear the system said this ball touched the line. So let's check this technology is bulletproof. We filmed the same shot with our own slow motion camera. Yup, still looks out.
But then, if you slow it down and go frame by frame, look at it. The ball is just on the line, 5 millimeters in. Now, let's say it's a court with a lot of clay.
Shot.
Whoa, like a little explosion. Now, you see, in this case, the mark is actually bigger than the impact. It looks like the ball just touched the line, but the electronic line calling system is saying it's out. So depending on the conditions where you are, the marks on a clay court can look very different.
In some conditions, the marks are big. Sometimes they're small, or you can't see them at all. It's hard to trust any of them.
And that's exactly why we have electronic line calling. It's more accurate than the human eye. These cameras calculate the exact position where the ball lands. So we know for certain if it's in or out.
Out.
In.
That was very informative. So the moral of the story is don't believe your lying eyes, believe the technology. The question is, Jimmy, will the players buy into the technology, or are they going to keep arguing the marks?
They are going to need to see that.
They do, don't they?
They actually have to sit them down before the clay court season, make everyone watch that, because before I saw that, I would have said we're in trouble. The players are going to see a mark, and there's no way they're going to believe in the electronic line calling any longer. But now that I've seen that, and one thing I have to say that always annoyed me, I would see a ball that looked out.
Right.
And exactly what they showed, too much clay, and they would say there's no space between the line and the mark.
The impact of the ball hitting the ground blows the clay particles onto the line.
And I always thought that was the case, so it would bother me when they'd say no space. But I go, there's the whole mark.
I mean, look, I think it's going to take a couple tournaments for the players to get used to it, and then, you know, then they'll have a peace of mind. I mean, that's all we want as players is a peace of mind. But it's still going to take a couple tournaments, but I had never seen this video before. It's amazing how granular it is.
They're still not going to have peace of mind, because if they see a mark, they're still going to complain about the mark.
But you know what? The other thing that it's going to eliminate, which I think is maybe one of the biggest problems we've had on clay, is that it's going to stop the whole which mark is the right mark, right? How many times have we seen two human grown adults standing over a mark going, no, this was the mark. No, it was this one over here. That's a thing of the past. Remember this? This was in Monte Carlo, I think it was 2018, Jared Donaldson and Albert Ramos Vignoles, and this is exactly what happened. Jared Donaldson said, wait a minute, it's this mark over here, and the chair umpire said, no, it's this mark over here, and poor Jared Donaldson lost his mind, and maybe a little too much. But this is now a thing of the past, guys.
Oh, wait, I kind of am enjoying this clip.
Why? Because players abusing. This was the second worst. This was the second worst moment of Arnaud Gabash's career. All right, so this went on, and the supervisor came out, and Jared Donaldson did not get his way. But this will never happen again, Nick.
Yeah, and typically a lot of seasoned clay court players, if they see a mark, let's say after a serve, they'll go up and look at it and then wipe it off, right? So that doesn't happen, so that there's not two marks in the same spot. But by the same token, now with the electronic line calling, that'll just solidify the fact that if it's out, it's out. If it's in, it's in.
No, I mean, look, it's great that they're not going to have any situations like that again, because you're right. I hated having, you don't know which mark it is. I hate all of those things. I just still feel like the players might complain when they think they've got a mark.
But we got to try, right? You got to try with this.
We do have to try. And I always felt bad for the chair umpire, because by the time he got out of his chair and walked all the way to the baseline, he lost track of which mark he was looking at. Look, tennis has the best electronic system in all of sports, and it's about to get better